Lego investing can be hard sometimes, and there are challenges out there that we need to work through because we are business owners and we're building an e-commerce business online, and that involves working through challenges, putting up with roadblocks, and figuring out how to do these things profitably even though there are some things in your way. Today I want to talk about one of the things that in the Lego investing community we need to deal with quite a lot, but it's really kind of a deterrent for some people to get into Lego investing because this can be frustrating. I've been frustrated by it. I'm frustrated by it still. We're going to talk about this, and what we're talking about here is going to be when Lego sets retire but they don't disappear from retail stores because they're overstocked, and so retail stores stay in stock on Lego sets long into the retirement. This can damage the return on investment that you might get on the set. It can change the dynamics of the aftermarket for that set, and it can be frustrating for you as a Lego investor who were excited to watch the value start to go up on your sets. So we're going to talk about this today and how frustrating it can be. What are some examples of this happening in the past? What are some examples of sets that retired a couple of months ago and they're still in stock today, 3 months later? That can be a little bit frustrating for us Lego investors. And what can you do about this and how to work around it? Now, I like to call this entire topic zombie stock. In other words, the set has died and it is resurrected. It is still in stock in retail stores, even though it has been retired. Manufacturing has ended on the set, but it is still in stock on Amazon because they had pallets of the thing in the warehouse and they're still selling through their inventory. And so I call this zombie stock. And in my community, we talk about this quite a lot. Which sets are zombie stock right now? When are they going to sell out? And what will we see in the aftermarket on those sets because they had that overstock that kind of delayed the prices going up a little bit. Now, we're going to talk about how this can be a frustrating thing to work through as a Lego investor. I do want to say that the bright side for us Lego investors when this is happening is that we know that the set has been retired. And so when you know that a set has been retired, you know that the manufacturing has stopped and the supply that is out there is finite. Even if it is still seeming to be endless, even if it is still in stock on Amazon and it seems that they've got it for months and months after retirement and they're still selling at the MSRP, you can still rest assured that that will come to an end at some point because the set has been retired. So unlike many other categories that you could sell online, such as other toys, board games, and a lot of other things, a lot of those things get manufactured endlessly, and so we will never be able to rely on the supply coming down. But with Lego sets, even if it does get delayed with extra zombie stock that's out there, at least we know that sometime in the future, Amazon will run out of stock, or whichever retailer will run out of stock, and prices will start to rise at that point. But I still get that this can be frustrating, and it still frustrates me. I've got a handful of investments that I made in December that have still not started to go up in value because Amazon still seem to have stock of it. I just know that when they run out of stock, the price will start to go up, and so I'm not concerned about it. But the only reason I'm not concerned about it is because I've been doing this for long enough to see what ends up happening. And so I've been around the block a couple times. But if you're a new Lego investor, I know that this is probably frustrating for you. You invested in sets in December and Amazon still have stock in March, and you're wondering, has this really retired or what's happening here? And it is important to make that distinction because just because the set is still in stock on Amazon does not mean it did not retire. Most likely the set did retire when you thought that it did. And you could go on lego.com and you're probably going to see that it has sold out status or retired status. But if you go on Amazon, it seems to be in stock. That just means that Amazon have extra stock of the retired set. They're not getting new deliveries from the Lego group. The set has stopped manufacturing, but Amazon still have some supply of it, and so they are working on selling the remaining supply that they have out there. Now, let's look at some examples of this happening, and we're going to start off by looking at some sets that are recent retirees. They retired at the end of December 2023, and now we're, almost 4 months later, and some of these sets are still in stock. I'm going to give you two very clear examples that you may have invested in. These are popular investments. A lot of the Lego investing community were excited about these sets, but Amazon in the US still have stock of it. And I do want to mention, wherever you are in the world, whatever retailers you're using, your situation is going to be different. I'm looking at Amazon in the US still being in stock on some of these sets. But if Amazon still have stock, it can impact the aftermarket across the board. Because if a buyer is able to go to Amazon and get it for MSRP, they're not going to go to eBay or Bricklink and get it for 2x MSRP. That's just not going to happen. So this can delay the price going up on the set. That's essentially what happens here. And the first set that we're seeing this happening on here is none other than Winnie the Pooh. And so Winnie the Pooh is a set that a lot of Lego investors were excited about. A lot of people were bullish on. This set was heavily discounted during Black Friday, and a lot of people got it for half price, which was an incredible deal on a great set. However, until now, that investment has not paid off for some people because the set is still in stock on Amazon, and it's still in stock at full MSRP, which is $100. So this set was supposed to retire at the end of 2023. It did retire. It stopped getting manufactured at the end of 2023, but Amazon still have stock of it. And if we look here at the Keep It chart, what we're seeing here is the price history on Amazon. And where you see the orange color, that means Amazon is in stock. And you'll notice in the last year, if we zoom in here, you're going to see that there were periods where Amazon were out of stock in the end of December and into January, but then they must have had a late shipment of the set, or they had stock of it in the back of the warehouse, but they relisted inventory right here in mid-January, and since then they have been in stock on it. And so they're selling it at the MSRP right now. We can see up here that the buy box is $100, which is the MSRP. While Amazon are in stock at $100, we cannot sell the set for $200, right? So that impacts the aftermarket. It delays the aftermarket, and essentially what happens is we need to wait for Amazon to sell out before we can start to see that price going up. Now, does this mean that it's going to be delayed and severely underperform for the rest of its aftermarket life? No, it doesn't necessarily mean that, because I'm going to show you some examples of cases in the past where we've seen zombie stock and Amazon staying in stock for a long time, but actually it still ended up being a good investment. And so we're going to look at some examples. We're also going to see some examples that they weren't really great investments after we saw zombie stock. I also want to mention that at this point, I still don't really see it as big zombie stock. I think we're still early enough into the retirement that it's not abnormal. It's getting to the point where it's abnormal because we're moving into month 4 of retirement now, coming into April. I definitely expect to see zombie stock for a month or 2 after retirement. On a lot of sets, we do see stock lingering in January and February of many retirees. That is perfectly normal. When we get into March, it's still kind of normal. And then when we get into April, it's starting to become a little abnormal that there's still stock lingering of certain sets. We're going to see some examples here where there were sets that lingered even longer than that. Sets that lingered 6 months, 8 months, even longer in stock on Amazon. And that can impact the retirement prospects of that set in terms of the valuation and in terms of the return on investment you can expect to get. So we'll walk through some of those examples. But Winnie the Pooh is the first one here that is still in stock. Now, I'm only going to show 2 quick examples of recent retirees, but there are others that are out there that are recent retirees that are still in stock. The other one I'm going to talk about here is the 007 Aston Martin Speed Champion set. So this is a Speed Champion set, $20 MSRP. A lot of Lego investors are excited about this set, myself included. I was buying these at a severe discount. I got great deals on this, and I was excited about that as a potential investment. But as of right now, months into retirement, we're still seeing Amazon in stock on this one. And what do we see in the Keep It chart? If we zoom in at the last year, we see that, they ran out of stock in December. The demand in December is so strong that they just couldn't keep it in stock and they ran out of stock, but they replenished in early January. So this would have been, potentially one of their final shipments of the set. Because manufacturing ended at the end of December, but they got more and they're still in stock until now. So the last 3 months in 2024, the past 3 months, they have been in stock on the Aston Martin DB5. That, of course, is going to delay the potential of this set going up in value, and it could potentially also hinder the eventual return on investment that we will get. Before this set retired, I was comparing it with the Dom's Dodge Charger Speed Champion set. A lot of my community were talking about which one would be a better investment, and I was kind of torn. I saw potential in both of them. But right now we see Dom's Dodge Charger at an incredible price already. It has a very, very quick climb in price. And I've actually started to sell a couple for $45. Again, I was buying them for $15. And so it's already like a double up, like 100% return on investment. Whereas the Aston Martin is still in stock by Amazon. And so this is not even going up in value yet at all. So we're seeing a massive disparity between Dom's Dodge Charger and the Aston Martin DB5 in terms of which one is already the clear winner. Does this mean it's going to be like that forever? Not necessarily, but I don't expect the Aston Martin to be able to catch up to the Dom's Dodge Charger at this point. I still do think it will end up being a good investment because I think that all the fundamentals are still there for this set. The demand is still very strong. And I do think that when Amazon finally sell out, we will see a lot of those lowball sellers quickly go, and then the price start to pick up very fast. And we will, again, we're going to look at some examples of where this has happened in the past and what it meant for the return on investment over time. But I'm not concerned about the Aston Martin set at all. I know I'm definitely not going to lose money on this investment. I know I'm still going to do pretty well. Will it be as good as some of the other speed champions that I expect to do well? I don't know at this point. It is taking a little while. I do want to just see it sell out soon. If it lasts in stock for the next 3-4 months, then I definitely think it could hinder the Q4 this year, the holiday season, and then it could take a little longer for this set to reach the same heights as what we've seen with the Darmstadt Charger set. So that is the Aston Martin DB5 currently in stock on Amazon. Now, where have we seen this happen in the past? We've got a couple of examples, and again, there are many other examples out there. I just thought of some off the top of my head that I knew this happened with and that I was impacted with a couple of times as well. A couple of these sets are sets that I invested in and I thought would dry up at a certain point, and they stayed in stock for months later. And I remember, looking at it and kind of wondering when it was going to sell out, talking to my community members about it and different things. So I'm just going to share some of those thoughts here with you. And the first one is Lloyd's Hydrox. It is a Ninjago set, 71750. It was a $20 MSRP set. I love mech sets. I love Ninjago small character-driven sets with great minifigures, great designs, great builds, and they can be incredible investments. And Ninjago is kind of a sleeper theme that a lot of people were missing out on for years, and I've done very well with Ninjago over time. But this is a set that was supposed to retire in July of 2022. So this was back here. It was supposed to retire, and on the chart once again here we can see the orange means Amazon were still in stock. So it was supposed to retire in mid-year 2022. And it ended up staying in stock right up until February of 2023. So that's like an extra 7 months of being in stock on Amazon, even though manufacturing had ended and supply was still out there. This was zombie stock. The thing about this one is there was a period of time where with COVID and with lockdown and all of the supply chain problems that we saw all around the world, that I was thinking that a lot of these zombie stock problems were likely because of COVID, were likely because of supply chain disruption. It was possible that potentially there were shipping containers full of certain Lego sets that didn't get to unload at certain docks, and then shipments came in late. It's also possible that other retailers were trying to liquidate overstock because of those supply chain problems, and then Amazon bought out other retailers' supply. And that kind of stuff does happen, and it is fully possibly the cause of a lot of these zombie stock issues. But the weird thing is that we're still seeing it happen in 2024. So at this point, I'm starting to think that maybe it wasn't just a knock-on effect of COVID and supply chain problems, and maybe Amazon, they just don't manage their stock perfectly, and they end up with stuff lingering in stock for a long period of time. For anybody out there who thinks, Shane, maybe this is a strategy, maybe they're buying up as many as they can because they know they're going to be able to sell it for months after Walmart and Target have sold out. I don't think that that is right, because Amazon are very notoriously careful about not being a storage company. They want turnover, they want movement of inventory, and they don't want to store pallets in the back of their warehouse for 6 months. So if Lego Group are stopping manufacturing at the end of December, I don't think that Amazon are going to buy 1,000 pallets of this thing to put in storage and then with the aim of selling them next holiday season like a Lego investor would. I just don't think Amazon are in that business. That's not what they want. They want turnover. They want movement. I don't believe that that's a strategy. I don't believe that this is intentional for them. I think that some of it is, again, supply chain shortages, late shipments, buying at inventory from other retailers potentially, and also some cases of just overbuying and demand not meeting expectations on certain sets and stock lingering for months that they didn't really expect to see. Okay, so those are my thoughts on why this happens. Now, if we look at this set, what happened in retirement? We see, again, it was supposed to retire in July of 2022. In January of 2022, the price was still at around $20 because Amazon were still in stock. But after that point, Amazon started selling out and the price started to rise. We see it went up to $29 in about a month of retirement, but then it stayed pretty flat throughout the rest of that year. And then throughout the rest of the year, it was pretty flat until Q4 of 2023, and then we saw the price going up to $35, and then a little bit higher again. We saw the lowest price at about $38 right there in January of 2024. Right now the buy box is $37. Now it's almost at the point where it's double of its initial MSRP. If you were able to get it for 20% off, and you bought it for $16 and you're selling it for $37 today, what would your return on investment be? Let's just quickly do a calculation, and I'm going to use our bot inside of the Ignite group right here to do a quick return on investment calculation. I'm going to put in the set number, and our purchase price would have been $16 and our sell price would have been 37. What does this tell us? It tells us that our target price, our sell price would have been 37. The fees, 555. Profit would have been almost $10, which is a 62% return on investment if you were able to get it for $16. So a 62% return is not bad if you bought it for $16. Again, you should not be paying full MSRP for most of your inventory. I do in certain circumstances, but this is not a set that I would have been paying full MSRP for. So I would have been buying it at least $16. And so this would have been my return on investment if I waited until this point. But again, this retired in mid 2022. So I would have hoped to have sold this already based on my hold time projections, but it's not that long to hold it. You would have been holding, for under 2 years at this point to be able to get that 60% return. I still would have had higher hopes for this set. I did have higher hopes for this set when it was retiring. I thought it would be a better investment than it ended up being. And I do think that the zombie stock impact here is one of the reasons that we saw the slow growth in price. We should have had a lot of these lowball sellers that kept the price down throughout 2023. They should have been sold out the previous year in 2022 in Q4. And we missed out on an entire Q4 because Amazon were taking all the sales during that Q4, and that impacted it for sure. So do I think that it impacted this set? Absolutely. Is it the end of the world if you're an investor in this set? Not if you got it at a good price. If you paid it for $16, you're still making a 60% return. I still had much higher hopes for it. If you paid full MSRP, it's not as good, of course. You're probably making more like a $5 profit. You're still profitable. You're still not losing money, but that is if you held it until now. If you sold it a little earlier, you're probably more like break even on this. And again, I think the zombie stock impact here definitely took this set down a notch, and it could have had a much better return. All right, the next one we're going to look at here is a Lego Technic set. This is the Technic Chevrolet Corvette 42093, and we all know this one. If you're a Lego investor for a couple of years now, then you might have been burned by this, because this was one of the biggest cases of zombie stock that we've actually seen here in the US on Amazon, with this set staying in stock for a very long time after the set was supposed to retire. Now, the official retirement date of this set was the 31st of July, 2021. So that is quite a while ago. We're going back to 2021 on this set, right down here. And this set stayed in stock for well over a year, almost a year and a half on Amazon after that retirement date. We see the orange color here remain in stock. It was available for around $40 before it retired. After it retired, Amazon raised their price of the listing to the full MSRP, and so they were not selling it at discount anymore. They were selling it for $50, and you can see all throughout 2022, when this set should have already been retired, this set was still in stock on Amazon for $50, which is the MSRP. So I bought this set. I invested in this set. This was not a good investment by any means. I was sitting on it all throughout 2022 while the set was still available on Amazon for retail price. And so, of course, I couldn't sell my inventory unless I wanted to take a bit of a loss on this set, which I wasn't willing to do. So I sat on it until they sold out and started to rise. So I sold my inventory. In fact, I still have some of this inventory, but I started selling them somewhere around here at the end of 2023. This is way too long of a hold time. I held it for 2.5 years. I should not have done that. Judging by the way I do things today, I would probably liquidate this, take a small loss, and move the money into a different investment. But for this set, I just wanted to sit on it. I kept thinking Amazon will sell out soon, and when they do, the price will jump. Now, what happened when they finally sold out? Let's zoom in here on 2023, or 2022, I should say. Amazon were in stock right up until Q4. In Q4, we saw demand spiking, of course, as we always do. Amazon sold out, and we saw an immediate jump in the buy box up to $70 right there. So it went from a $50 MSRP, which was the buy box while Amazon were in stock, up to $70 almost, and that was pretty good. And then right here we had $71 to close out the year, or closer to around $70 buy box. So at that point, you're breaking even if you bought it for 40, and that's good because most people probably did buy this for at least 40. I think I got a lot of units of this for 35. So if you're getting it for 35 or 40, when that price jump happened right here up to 70, you're actually probably going to make a couple dollars at that point. So you're profitable. You're not losing money. You can get rid of your inventory and reinvest it in that Q4 if that's what you wanted to do. I chose to hold it a little longer. Maybe shouldn't have. But in the last year, So that was the first year that it finally sold out in 2022. But at the end of 2023, we see that the price actually continued to go up. So it hit 85. And I remember, I think I sold some units around $80 here. So again, I bought them for around 35. So it ended up being a pretty good investment for me. But for the whole time, it wasn't good, right? Because it's way too long to hold a set, 2.5 years. For me, it just doesn't fit my strategy. And also, if I paid more for it, like some people did, it wouldn't have been the best investment. And again, this is impacted by this zombie stock effect. The fact that it sold out, or it retired in July 2021 and did not sell out until the end of 2022. And it was only at that point that all Lego investors became profitable and broke even and became profitable. If you're still sitting on inventory right now, the price has come back down again. It's at 72. The best time to sell this would have been Q4 in 2023 when it was up at around $85. That was a really good time to sell this in my mind. But if you want to hold longer, it likely will go back up again. It's just a matter of time, of course, before more of the supply goes down and then we have an increase again in price. This is a beloved set. It's a really nice set for a great price point. I like these cheaper Lego Technic vehicles, and so there's a lot of potential here with this one, and a lot of people like it. So sales will continue, and you could wait for that price to go back up again. All right, so real quick, let's jump into another example here, and this is the San Francisco Skyline. So this is 21043, and this is another set that we saw zombie stock issues with. So this set retired at the end of 2021 right here. We do see it sell out for a while. Zooming in on 2021, we can see Amazon were in stock in November, but then they sold out. We see this period where they were sold out. However, they came back in stock early in 2022, and they stayed in stock until the summertime. And so they were selling this set for $50, which was the MSRP. Again, you could have got this for at least 20% off. You can see it was available for sale for $40 back here during the year that it retired. So you could have been buying this for $40 or lower, but Amazon coming back in stock at $50 at the full MSRP for half a year after retirement definitely slowed down the ability for the price to go up on this set. During this time, it was a very fast seller. This set was highly demanded. Before retirement, it was an incredible demanded set, and it had a lot of things going for it. But right here, Amazon kept the price down because they were in stock for $50. So if you look at what happened when they finally went out of stock, we can see here, zooming in, that Amazon were in stock for these 6 months. This was the first year of retirement. They should have been out of stock. They sold out in mid-July, and we have an immediate price jump to 66 right here from that $50 price. So at that point, if you bought it for $40, which would have been 20% off, at that point you're profitable, right? You pay your fees and everything, your costs, and selling it for 66, at that point you're profitable. You're not making much, but you are, you're at least not losing any money at that point after 7 months of holding. Now, as you waited longer, we see the price start to get up there, and by the end of that first year of retirement, it was selling for $80. Now that's pretty good. That's a good recovery because the set stayed in stock on Amazon for the first half of the year, and then it sold out, and in the second half of the year it ended up getting to $80, which if you bought it for $40, which again was just 20% off, some people got a better deal than that, but if you got it for 20% off and then you're selling it for $80, that's double of what you paid for it. Now you're not going to make double because you got to pay your fees, but you're making probably 50% at that point. Let's do a quick calculation on this one. So if I grab the set number and jump back into return on investment bot, we can quickly check if we bought this for $40 and we sold it for $80, what's our return on investment? Yeah, like I thought, we're making around 56% return, which is a $22.43 profit per unit on this one after you've paid your fees and everything. So that is not bad, right? You're making, $22 profit per unit. I had a lot of these. I had about 120 of these, and 56% return. It's okay, right? Again, I expected more from this set. I was very bullish on San Francisco. I bought a lot of them. That's how bullish I was, but I expected more. And when this set stayed in stock for so long, I was disappointed, of course. I thought that the price would already be skyrocketing at that point. It didn't happen. Amazon kind of slowed it down for us for sure. But this is the saving grace, is that after they finally did sell out, we saw really strong performance in the back half of the year because the fundamentals were there. The demand was there. The supply was low. As I thought, these are the reasons that I went so heavy on the set were all still true, right? It was still accurate. And so just because Amazon stayed in stock, they delayed it, and they certainly dampened the performance. It should have been better, but it wasn't the end of the world. I still made a 56% return. Now, I actually did not sell at $80. I waited until the end of 2023, and I was selling these for around $92 at the buy box at around the end of the year here. And so if we bring in the buy box, we can zoom in. There's a thing that happens where the buy box on Amazon sometimes gets a bump, and if you sell FBA, you can actually list your items for a little higher than the lowest price. And so we can see the pink line here is the buy box, and we can see that it was selling for around $90 for a lot of 2023. And right now we can see that it's almost $92. So that's around the price that I sold it for in 2023. I sold it for in the region of $92. And if we look at what our return on investment would have been if we sold at 92 and just copy a new command to the bot here, we're talking about 21043. That's the set number. We bought it for 40. We're selling it for 92. Then the return on investment is actually 82%. That's within my targets, right? I want 70 to 100% return. At that point, we're talking about a return on investment that, in my opinion, is perfectly reasonable. That's a great investment. It took too long to get there. I definitely did not want to hold this set until the end of 2023. It just got delayed by this zombie stock thing that happened. But in the end, it all worked out, and I'm happy with this investment overall. So that is the San Francisco Skyline. We also saw the same thing with Dubai. Now, Dubai did not do as well as San Francisco. I also invested in this one, and this one is not as good of a story. But it did stay in stock for even longer. So once again, this set retired at the end of 2021. It stayed in stock until almost October of that year. So the zombie stock lingered for quite some time on Dubai. Now, if we zoom in on what happened after it finally sold out, we can see that Amazon had it in stock for $60 right up until just coming into the end of September here. Now, when they sold out, we can see the buy box jumped to $82. So that's quite a jump from 60 to 82 at the buy box. And again, you should not have been buying it for 60. That's the full MSRP. You should have been buying this for at least 48. That would have been 20% off. And you could have definitely gotten this for 48. In fact, if we zoom out, we can see that all through the year before it retired, it was selling for $48. Right before retirement, it was selling more at the MSRP. And in this year right here, it was selling at the MSRP because it was retired. So they didn't need to discount it anymore. But again, you should have already had all your inventory by then, and you should have gotten them for at least $48. If you did, then when this set finally sold out, if you got it for 48 and then it goes to 83, what does that look like? If we look at it, you should be at least profitable here. So we're talking about Dubai buying it for $48. We're selling it for $82.50. Let's just go 82, bring it down at 33% return. So you're making a profit. You're making $16 profit per unit at that point immediately as soon as it sells out. So Amazon were in stock all year. They sell out, and then immediately the price jumps and you're profitable. At that point, you're making a 33% return with almost $16 profit per unit. Again, I had over 100 of these. I did not sell at this point. I didn't sell at the $82 price. But after we zoom out again and see what else happened, does it go up from there? The problem with this set is that it really kind of stagnated. We do see in the first half of 2023, we do see it start to climb a little bit. And so by mid-year in 2023, it was selling for 85. So again, if you bought it for 48, you're selling it for 85. At that point, you're doing reasonably well. And then if we look more recently, we see a buy box. So we do see some funky stuff happening here with the Keep It chart. But if we zoom in, we can see the buy box was in the region of $97 here. So we're talking about a $97 sale price at that point, and that would have been waiting into 2023. So if we change this to selling for 97, now you're talking about a 60% return. So again, this set retired at the end of 2021. But if you held it until mid 2023, right around here, you could have sold it for $93. And a little longer, you could have sold it for more like $98. At those times, you would have been making somewhere between a 50 and a 60% return, more like a $28 profit per unit. Again, I expected a lot more for this set. This took way too long to get to those points. This should have been a plus 100% return on investment for sure. That's why I bought over 100 of these. Same with San Francisco. But did I lose money? No. In fact, it's profitable. You're making probably a 50% return if you bought at the right price, waited and sold it at the right time. Some people probably didn't do as well because maybe they overpaid or they sold too soon. But again, like we saw, you should have at least been making that 30% return immediately after Amazon sold out, as long as you bought it for 20% off. And folks, again, there's the importance of always buying sets for discounts, right? We don't want to buy our inventory for full price. We want to buy it for discounts. It should be very easy to do. It's easier to buy sets at a discount sometimes than it is to buy them at full price, because this set was heavily discounted throughout its life, and you should have been able to get it for 20% off on Amazon. And so if you did that, then at least as soon as they sold out, you would have been able to make a profit. And then if you waited a little bit longer, that profit grew from somewhere around 30% return up to around 50 to 60% return, which is kind of the world that we're living in now. Right now, the prices come back down. It's $88 on Amazon right now, so you're kind of losing a little bit again. But if we wait a little longer for that price to climb up again after some more of those lowball sellers sell out, that's the option. So this is some examples, folks, of what we've seen in the past, and I just wanted to share these because it is important to look at history. Every set is different. Every set has different demand factors and supply factors. There are many other sets out there we could look at that lingered in stock for a couple of months. What I would say about this overall is that it is frustrating. I fully understand that it's frustrating. I get frustrated by it. Like I said, had two sets here that I was over 100 units deep on that I thought were going to be much better investments than they ended up being because of this zombie stock phenomenon. However, did I lose money? No. In fact, I still made pretty good money. On San Francisco, you can see it actually ended up being a pretty good investment. It just didn't meet my expectation. What are our options as Lego investors? You could liquidate if you want to. In my opinion, I'd rather hold until the set sells out. I know with the Technic example we saw, it was extreme because it was a year and a half of zombie stock, and so maybe I should have liquidated that one. But the others here, I'm happy I didn't, because 6 to 8 months of zombie stock time is fine, because eventually I end up making a pretty okay return on investment anyway. And so that's the way I think about this, is that I don't worry about it too much. Right now, when we see Winnie the Pooh in stock, or we see the DB5 Aston Martin still in stock, or the bookshop, the modular bookshop also, I realized, is still in stock on Amazon. And there are some others as well. Does it stress me out? Absolutely not. It is a little frustrating. I'd like to see the prices going up, but it doesn't stress me out because it's happened in the past. I was stressed about it the first time it happened, and I've learned over time that it actually doesn't end up being the end of the world. There are likely some other examples out there that were worse than these ones, but these are top of mind for me because these are actual investments that I made, so I wanted to share them with you. But I'd love to hear about some other examples where you saw zombie stock that really impacted the retirement potential of a set. Drop the examples in the comments and let's have that discussion, because I think it's helpful for everybody if we learn from each other. And so let's talk about that in the comments. And if there are other examples here, I can make other videos and we can go deeper on those as well. But I hope that this helped you realize that you're not the only one, if you are a Lego investor, who's sitting on stuff that Amazon still have in stock. Just wait it out and everything is going to play itself out nicely. And then hopefully for every one zombie set that you have 9 others that are phenomenal investments that are already claiming a value, like the Thor's Hammer or the Birds of Paradise or the Police Station Modular, or many other sets that are already off to a great start in 2024. Hopefully you've invested in others that are more than going to pick up the slack that we're seeing from some of this zombie stock. So I hope you found this useful. If you did, make sure to click the like button. And while you're down there, if you want to get in on the action, we have a free private Facebook group that we invite people into for Lego investing discussions. So you can click the link in the description if you want to jump into our free Lego investing Facebook group. And with that, thank you so much for being here. I'm Shane from brickbucks.net, and make sure this is your year to lift off and be free.